Hello everybody, welcome back to this video. My name is Madison and today I'm going to give you guys some YA recommendations because I feel like right now a lot of YA books are being infiltrated by adults and there's a lot of smut and a lot of adult content, explicit content in books. So here are just some of my favorites that don't have any of that or are fade to black, and I think that they're just amazing, and I feel like everybody that just wants to read YA should definitely read these, and there's no infiltration at all because unfortunately that is an issue that we have right now, especially with the whole sublime information. And I know I've actually talked about this before, but it's okay. I don't have a whole bunch of books, so we won't be here for too long, don't worry, but I didn't want to share these with you guys. The first book is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Now, let me just tell you guys this, because it is so common that people are like, this is such a nice romantasy. This is such a nice romantasy. The Cruel Prince is fantasy with a romance subplot. Which you're like, that's a romantasy. No, it's not. And it's just not, okay? Let me explain something to you guys. This book, it is not huge, but it is pretty big. This much of it, this entire portion is fantasy. The romance does not even get introduced until about this much into the book. It is not a romantasy. It is a fantasy with a sub plot of romance. Please, it hurts my heart to see people call this romantasy and then people get disappointed and they're like, where's the romance? Well, Holly Black didn't write it to be a romance. She wrote it to be a fantasy with a small romance subplot. But if you can get past that, which I'm surprised because I only read books if there's like a little bit of romance in it, because it's just like that's just what I like. But I genuinely enjoyed this book. It was amazing, it was well written, and Holly Black just outdid herself. So please pick this up, read it, it's so good. Check and Mate by wrong author, by Ali Hazelwood. This book is actually the book that got me back into reading back in 2024. It was just so phenomenal. I don't like to tap my books, but I even went back last year and re-tabbed everything. Like I reread it in one day, by the way, reread the whole thing in one day and tabbed it up. That's just how good this book is. And I don't reread books, I don't tab books, I don't highlight books, but I did all of that for Check and Mate right here. That's just how much I enjoyed this. Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. This book right here, let me tell you guys, I loved it so much. It was such a cute, fun little romance. It is short, it is sweet, it is cute. So if you're looking for like a cute, quick summer romance to read, this is definitely it for you. I'm gonna just go ahead and say I read this in a reading vlog. I think it was like how many pages can I read in a week. I did that video like last year in 2024. I don't know. I did it last year, I think, though. And it was just phenomenal. It was so much fun. So definitely pick this up. Watch the reading vlog. It's non-spoilers, so you guys can enjoy it with me. Hashtag Mer Trending. I read this in 2024, I believe. Now listen, this cover is horrible. I don't know why they have book covers that are like this, where you can like peel them off after like 2 days of having it in your hand, but I digress. I read this in a Texas vlog, actually, and it was just so much fun. I loved it. This is actually one of my favorite thrillers ever. Unfortunately, the second book was not that great, but I need to read the third book, which is the last in the trilogy. But trust me, the first book, oh my gosh, I still think about it to this day. Shades of Red by Jane Thompson. Okay, I want to go on a little rant right here. I feel like, as a collective, we don't talk about indie books enough. And I feel like that's just so heartbreaking because indie books hold so much, like, not only power, but they hold so much greatness and potential. And nobody ever sees the potential because they're too busy looking at BookTok's latest releases from traditional publishers who are literally copy and pasting the same things from their older books or from other people's books. And that's not to say that traditional publishers cannot have an original idea, and they're good. Do you know these are all four of these are traditionally published, and a lot of the books in the rest of this pile are traditionally published. I'm just saying indie authors are so underrated, and Jane Thompson is definitely one of those authors where you have to take a step back and you're like, whoa. Because I've read Diamond in the Rough by her. Now, the reason I chose this book specifically is because I'm trying to do only one book per author, right? So I picked my favorite by her, and this just happens to be that. I mean, she's just a fantastic writer. The way she describes things and her settings and her characters emotions, by the way, and the way she just promotes herself and the way that she has like the structure in her books. It's just so phenomenal. And like I said, I don't like to reread books, but I even went in and I reread Shades of Red. That is how much I utterly adored this story. This novel was amazing. I need a movie, like an entire movie deal ASAP, and I need the rest of the series. And she's saying that the series is going to be a pretty long ongoing series, so I know I'm going to be like on cliffhangers, just like I was for this one. So be prepared when you go into this does end on cliffhanger, unfortunately. But she's like, Jane writes so fast too, by the way. She writes so like abnormally fast, and I love that she's so authentic and she's so amazing. So definitely check her out, but especially check out Shades of Red. If you're not going to listen to any other book in this video, Shades of Red is the book to go. She just, first of all, I feel like all indie authors need to have much more, like, people need to recognize their greatness so much more. But Jane Thompson is definitely one of those ones where it's like, she's an auto-buy author for me now. I've only read 3 of her books, one of those being a novella. But it's just so crazy because you read so many novellas, and in so many of those novellas, you're like, oh, there could have been more. That's not how I felt when I read that novella. I was literally thinking, when I read In the Stars, I literally was thinking, how did she end this novella? But it ended so perfectly to the fact where I didn't want more. And most of the times novellas take place in other characters' point of views of the same story, which is literally what In the Stars was. It was Diamond in the Rough, but from Lincoln's point of view. And it was just genuinely so amazing because it's like the descriptions in such a short amount of pages, by the way, such short amount of pages. You have all these descriptions, you have all these things, and you go in and you're thinking like, okay, I only want to read this so that way it contributes to the story and it gives us more context for things, but also it's not going to have that much substance, it's not going to have that much importance. That is not how I felt when I read In the Stars. I'm telling you guys, reading a book by Jane is a whole other experience. Fake Skating by Lynn Painter. I talk about this book so much on my channel. I had a video where I literally read this for, like, not a reading vlog specifically, but it was more like a read with me. You guys cannot tell me that I don't like this book, okay? Like, anytime it's come down to a book recommendation, I always recommend Fake Skating by Lynn Painter. I love Lynn Painter so much. She's actually one of my favorite authors. Auto-buy author. Actually, she's an auto-buy author for me. She's just so amazing. I love this book so much. This is my favorite by her, actually. So please, Fake Skating is the Lynn Painter book to start with. I know everybody's like, better than the movies. Okay, Better Than the Movies was good, yes. But this is her best work, and a lot of people will agree with me. This just has to be her best novel she's ever put on that keyboard. Okay, this is just the best. The Organized by Suzanne Collins. Now, I have an entire reading vlog on this book and also Catching Fire if you guys want to check that out. But nobody actually talks about how good this book is. Like, they're always just like, I feel like it's such a necessary book to read because it's just this and it's that, just this and this that. Okay, but can we talk about like the actual story and the plot line and about how good the books are and the substance of the books and what it contains, because it is just amazing. And I feel like if I start talking about it here, I'm going to spoil the entire book for you guys, so I'm not going to get into that rant. But I'm going to tell you guys, I cannot wait to start Mockingjay. Like, that has to be, I don't even have a lot of time this month because I literally go to business camp tomorrow, and I go to Iona trip literally the week after this week. So I literally have like only a few days actually at home to do, oh my gosh, both of my reading vlogs. I have 2 reading vlogs that I want to do. Oh my gosh, guys, life is crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead and say, this phenomenal. Please pick it up, please read it. Just Friends by Haley Pham. Now this one I know technically might be considered an adult book, but there's no smut, there's no swearing, there's nothing, so I classify it as an adult, as a YA book, young adult. It's also written by Haley Pham, who's a Christian, so there wasn't going to be any of that anyways because she doesn't talk about any of that, she doesn't cuss, she doesn't do any of that, so it's cool. I was just like, I figured when it came out, I was like, I don't think this is going to contain anything like that, but it was good. There are things that are written here that will confuse you and slip you up. You're like, it'll take you out of the reading moment for like a moment, but other than that, the plotline, the story, it's great, and it's also good for the summer. It's amazing for the summer, and it handles grief. It talks about really deep topics, and she's already writing the second book, so catch up before the second book comes out. The Ruined Royals by Madison Hall, which is me. Now, I'm not going to give you guys a full rundown on this because my storage is actually paying like painstakingly low. Like if you guys notice the angle changes, it's because my storage is trash. Okay, so I don't have enough time to delve too deep into what my book is about. Unfortunately, I would love to, but I have a lot of videos on that, as well as a video on my author goals, so check that out if you want to know more about the book, as well as like some YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, stuff like that, where I talk about it all the time. I literally talk about this book all the time on the channel. This is actually like one of my like most like things that I feel like I've accomplished so well, and I've been working on it for about 4 years. It's available on Amazon, and if you guys want to sign, it's available on Amazon on Depop, and on Depop it is discounted, not just signed but discounted. So grab your copies because we're trying to reach 100 sales by the end of the year, as well as hit 1,000 followers on Instagram before July 31st, and sending your videos or pictures of you guys holding this book or reading it on Kindle, because we are making an anniversary video. Close to Benny Sorrenzo. Now this book is a brick. I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna just start off with saying that I have a reading blog where I read this. I don't know which one it was that I read this in. I think it was reading for 24 hours, but I don't know. It was either that or I was reading text. I don't know. It's one of those. But this book was so heartbreaking, but it was so good. Now, Boys of Tommen is rated YA in the US, even though Chloe Walsh has said multiple times this is not YA. So if you guys want to like read something similar to that, because you guys know I really love the Boys of Tommen series, read Close to You by Benny Sorrenzo like ASAP. Now if you're realizing, you're like, okay, well when I look at this book, it looks completely different from your copy. This is the indie copy before it got traditionally published, so yes, mine is definitely going to look a lot different from yours. I want to get the traditional published version, but whatever. This book was so cute but also so heartbreaking at the same time, and I loved it so much. So please go get your hands on it like right now. And the last book for this recommendation video is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. Now, the first book was mainly world building, and for that reason I was not the biggest fan, because how do you have a full 200-page book about literal world building and backstory, but then you read the second book and you're like, whoa, that makes sense. You read the third book and you're like, whoa, that makes sense, and you just keep reading the books and it just keeps getting better and better and better. That's literally how this was. Every book after Shatter Me was amazing. I literally just finished, what is it called? Defy Me. They all have me in it, so I always mix them up. But Defy Me was... Jaw was on the ground by the time I finished. Okay, we have one more book left in the series, but everything after Shatter Me is good. But people love the first book, actually, so if you like love the first book, I love that. I just was not a fan of like how it was, because I feel like we were in just like two places for the entire book. But please, if you read this, you're like, okay. Anyways, that is the end of this video. I love you guys so much, and goodbye.